So I thought I'd share my current workflow for adding keys to a 3D print model, so I can slice it up into smaller pieces and print it slightly bigger on my small 3D printer, and then reassemble all the pieces once it's all printed. So normally I would take my model, I would make a duplicate, I'd bring it down to a smaller poly count using Zbrush or some manual retopology, making sure that I have good loops, poly loops, wherever I want to make a cut. For this example, I'm just going to use the human male average, which I've already gone through and combined all the poly groups, so it's got nice even slices. Yep, so the next step would be to split using group split, and now I have individual pieces. Okay, so the next step would be to make a key and turn it into a insert mesh brush, so it's nice and easy to add to each model. So to do that, I would, now using the new tools, I would just get a Polymesh 3D, go down to initialize, make it a 1 on the Y resolution, make it a Q cube, just like that. Change the poly groups, so I'll group by normals, so each side has a different poly group. Then it's just a matter of holding control, clicking on the top poly group, and clicking dead in the center with the transpose, which is why having this division makes it real easy. Press E, and then just scale in, press W, drag it out, and I now have my first key shape. To make the recess, the other end, the hole, it's pretty easy. Duplicate the shape, then clear your mask, click on the dead center of the bottom of the key shape, press E for scale, and then just scale it out slightly. It's good to turn on the transparency so you can sort of see the difference, and we just want to scale it so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, you can sort of see where the two polygons faces are intersecting. So the next step would be to merge down. Okay, so now they're all one object. Now I want to delete the bottom poly groups, so Control Shift. There we go. And because they're both the same poly group, that makes that really easy. So once they're hidden, press Delete Hidden, which of course can be found in Geometry, Modify Topology, and there it is there. So now I've got two shapes in sort of taking up the same space. I'm going to go down to Polygroups, Auto Group, so I can isolate them real easy. Then I'm going to take the outside group and I'm going to flip it. So this will make our negative, I guess, of the key, and then the blue poly group will make the positive. Okay, so now it's all one piece of geometry. I'm going to rotate it, turn off perspective, rotate it so it's facing towards the screen, then go up to brushes and come down to create insert mesh brush and make a new insert mesh. So now I have a brush where if I click and drag, I get a key shape with both positive and negative ready to go, which will make this so much simpler. Okay, so now that I've done that, I've got my brush, I'll come back to the model, and I've already got a piece isolated. So what I'm going to do is hit Polymesh 3D, so I'm not working with all the other subtools. It just makes it easier to handle, and then I'll import it back. Okay, so step one would be to close off this hole here with geometry, modified topology, close holes, nice and easy. So the next step would be to create a nice poly loop. At the moment I've got all these triangles and I don't really want them, so I'm going to hold Control, click in the center with my transpose line. I'm going to press E for scale, and then I'm going to scale in while holding Control, and it extrudes in a little nice little poly group. I might even just press W and just move that in slightly. Maybe not. What I might do instead is hold Control, scale in a little so I have a nice straight edge, then scale in a little more, holding Control, and then on this one I'll press W and I'll press W and just move it in slightly, while holding Shift just to snap it to that line, to that normal. Okay, so here's my basic inside collar, I guess. So the next step would be to isolate this poly group, then press Ctrl X, and then I'm going to hide this poly group. In the center, press Ctrl W, which doesn't want to work again for me, so I'm going to press polygroups and I'll just do an auto group. There we go. And I'm going to press Ctrl X again, and I'm going to hide those two internal polygroups and press Ctrl W. Yep, it worked that time, and group visible. Okay, so now I've got each piece has a different polygroup just to make it easier to isolate. So now I've done this basic shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split hidden, and I'm going to work at it from this subtool here. So let's have a look. What do I want to do? I want to use my insert mesh brush, and I want to click and drag, and yep, I might try that again. Bit over this way. Yep, I can hold space and reposition. Okay, that looks pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do is hold Control, clear my mask, Control Shift, Control Alt Shift, and I just want to delete this poly group. So Control Shift drag outside, and then delete hidden, which I've put up the top here. Just because doing this workflow, sometimes it's easier to have the buttons you're always pressing within view. Okay, so now I've got this sort of gap, and now I want to split the inside peg. So split hidden. And I also want to flip this geometry here. So not this peg, not this purple peg shape. I want to delete, flip these two polygroups. So now if I go into solo and unhide everything, there we go. I just want to fill in the gaps between this peg shape and these poly loops here. So it's real easy now with ZModeler. I can come in, highlight an edge, hold space, go down to bridge, and then I'll just bridge here to here, here to here. I love this. Here to here, and let's say here to here. Okay, and now that I've done that, I can come in here and go close. No, I don't like that geometry. If I don't like it, I'll just tend to bridge again. Bridge again. Yeah, I can bridge to there. Bridge to there. Bridge to there. Nope, can't bridge that one. Okay, I'll close that off later. And I might bridge to there. Undo. What happened there? Bridge from there to there. That's better. And from there to there. And close off these. So I'm not really worried about good polyloop geometry anymore because this just has to fit. There's no other way to put it. So I'm going to isolate these groups and just regroup this bit of geometry here. Okay, so there's one side done, which I'm now going to duplicate. So that's the, I guess, the negative end of things, which I will attach not to this forearm, but I'll attach it to the upper arm. So now I want to make my positive end, which I'll attach to the forearm. I'll do that by isolating these polygroups here, delete hidden, and then I will do a flip, because now I want it facing this way. Turn that off. Yep, so I want it to face away from the forearm. And now I will do a merge down, which again I've put up the top here, because I use it quite a bit. There we go. So again, makes it nice and easy with this Z modeler brush. Bridge. Zoom in a bit more. Bridge from here to... Okay, why not? Don't seem to be able to... it's too close, okay. So I'll come onto this face over here, bring it down until it just... Yep, there we go. So I'm going to come along this face, bring it down until I see the white line on the edge. Click, click. So much easier. Click, click. I don't trust close holes enough to let it, do the job for me. So I'm just going to manually join these gaps. First edge, second edge, first, second. Okay, just gonna merge those polygroups. It's just to make it easier if I need to make an adjustment. But now I know that because this piece, the negative side, and this piece, the positive side, share the same geometry, I know it's going to be a pretty good fit. I'm pretty confident. I'll probably have to sand it down a little, but I'm pretty confident it'll fit perfectly. Okay, so now that I've got this positive side, I'm going to reattach it to the forearm by moving it up underneath the forearm, coming to the forearm, and then doing a merge down. And I'll press always skip because I'm going to be doing a lot of it. And there we go. That's all merged together. But these points won't be welded. A quick way to check if your points are welded is just to go to deformation and do a polish. Yep, and if that happens, if you get a split, your points aren't welded. So I'll just quickly undo. I put weld points up here, but that of course can be found in geometry, modify topology, and then weld points. I love that they have this weld point distance now, makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to hit weld points, see what happens. And it doesn't look like it's welded any of my points. So let me just check by going to polish. Yep, it hasn't welded any of my points. So I'm just going to go to subtools, nope, geometry. I'm going to increase the weld distance. That looks better. So if I smooth it, if it moves, it's welded. So see how this point hasn't moved? Let me just try it again. Yep, so I can't smooth in that point. That hasn't been welded together, so I'll do it again in a slightly higher welding distance. That looks good. Much better. Yep. Yep, perfect. I'll just do a double check by going down to deformation and polish. Yep, all smoothed out, perfect. Oh, another thing to do is I'll use Z modeler, and then I'll go to the edge and I'll hit crease and I'll do a complete loop. So for this to, if you've done a Z remesher and reduced your topology right down, you're probably going to want to smooth it down and reproject your details back in by dividing it. So a good thing to do is to put creases around all the important edges. So this, any shared edge on the model, so I'm going to do it around the edge here, but then I'm also going to do it on the edge on the key edges. So any important edges, any edges I want to stay straight, I'll just put a crease. So I used to do this by making individual polygroups for each side, and then using the geometry crease polygroup. But I can sort of individually select edges now with Z modeler, which kind of makes it easy. Shoot that down, crease. I've just noticed a little issue. When I've increased the weld distance, these edges have merged. That probably won't cause me a problem, but I think if I was going to do it again, I would try and isolate. No, I can't do that. Okay. Anyway, I'd have to be careful, because once I start changing the geometry, it's less likely to fit as well. It'll be very close, but it's just something to be wary of. And I'll also crease this side as well. Crease, edge. Yeah, so if all my edges are creased when I hit divide, I should, the edges should stay the same, should stay neat on both sides, and I should still get a nice clean fit once I've reprojected all my details. But for this model, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that one's done, the forearms attached. So I'm going to actually put that back into this model. I don't need this geometry anymore, I'm pretty confident. So I'm actually going to delete it. Then I'll go to Insert, which I've put up the top, and I'm going to use my Polymesh 3D copy. So if I hold Alt, click on it, go solo, there it is with the key. Good. Now I'm going to Alt and click on the forearm, upper arm, sorry. I'm just still going to isolate that. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my Polymesh copy. I'm going to switch subtools to the negative geometry, and then I'm going to switch back to the full body. I'm going to go Insert again. Now I use Insert because it puts it directly under the subtool I'm working on. Put the Polymesh 3D back in, so now it's in with all those. I'm going to hit Merge down, and then I'm going to hit Weld Points. Oops. And it doesn't look like it's welded properly because the weld distance would be different, so I'm just going to put it up a little. Hold Shift, scoot it around. There we go, it all smoothed in correctly, so that means it's all welded. And yeah, that's done. So if I was to turn off solo, hide everything else, and unhide the forearm, turn off transparency, and I hit expose, there we go. Oh, that was nice. So there you can see the two pieces. And then I would just continue on in the same fashion until I completed the rest of the model. Yep, so that's how I've been going about it. Now the only reason I'm doing it this way is because every time I use Dynamesh, I haven't got enough RAM. So I crash. And I can't get the geometry dense enough to get a nice clean cut. So I've been using this sort of low poly method to compensate for it until I can get a new computer. But I've done a couple of prints like this and it has worked fairly well. A couple of pieces were very tight, seeing I didn't actually scale them in the first time I did it. So they didn't quite go in all the way until I sanded them down. But they were very snug. I didn't have to use any glue to hold it together for the first attempt to put it together. And yeah, that's how I've been doing it so far. I hope this helps someone who's trying to do this something similar. But before I finish, I will just go through and crease these edges. Crease, target, complete loop. And no, I'll have to do individual edges here. So just creasing the exact same edges that I've creased on the positive shape. So I probably should have done the creasing on the inset mesh brush beforehand. I don't know if that would carry over, but if it does, it would make it a lot easier. There we go. So if I was to come down to geometry and hit divide twice, and I've missed an edge, so undo, undo, and it's that one in there. Okay, there we go. Hit divide twice. Right, and then swap tools, then hit divide twice, and swap back. So I'm going to press expose again, and it should join up. Perfect. So see, even though I've divided them, because they're creased along the exact same edges, yeah, okay, so see, there you go. Because it did weld those points together, there's a little bit of intersecting. But using the project brush, Z-project, I could probably fix that a little. But a little bit of sanding at the other end would solve any of these problems. But yeah, that's sort of how I go about it. Like I said, I hope this sort of would help anyone, and thanks for watching.